Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the First Half Sports Podcast. This is your boy Brad, aka the Big Mocha, alongside my boy.
Jaden, aka Jaden Props.
And let's hop right into this episode today. So coming up first, we have breaking news coming from Dallas. It feels like we have breaking news coming out of Dallas every single day now since they lost Jaden. But Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones have decided to run it back again for the fifth straight season. Jerry Jones has decided to go forward with Mike McCarthy. He's had three straight 12-win seasons, but they've only had one playoff win, as you know, the big disappointing loss that they just had last Sunday to the Packers. So how do you feel about this news, Jaden, that Jerry Jones is going forward with Mike McCarthy? Do you think this is a
I
mistake?
mean, I'm not sure yet because I feel like I can't really say my true answer till I know if Dak is going to be gone. Because I personally thought that rather McCarthy or Dak would be gone. I don't know about you, but I personally thought one of them would be gone. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing here soon that Dak's going to be cut. I doubt it just because they got so much money wrapped up into them. I don't know. Maybe Jones just wants to give it one more shot. I mean, McCarthy did win a ring. So maybe he's not the problem. The play calling, I don't like. What are you thinking about it? You like the decision?
I mean, as a how do I word this? As an NFL, well, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, so I do like this decision because I think it's going to be funny next year when we're in the same exact position. I think it's
Yeah.
funny that the Cowboys do this every year to their fans and just to everybody in general. So for that, I do think it's a good decision. But for the overall scheme of the Cowboys and them actually winning, I don't think it's a good idea. Mike McCarthy is a fantastic coach. Obviously, he won a ring with the Packers. It was a good playoff story there. They were on the road the whole time, but they but that he's just not getting this team where it needs to be. They have a talented roster. They have a talented quarterback. As you remember, he was the MVP candidate about 3-4 weeks ago. So the roster overall is talented. The individual talent, I mean, is there as well. That just goes with the roster. But it seems that the coaching isn't there. They just came out to that game against Green Bay not ready. They weren't prepared. The overall game plan, the overall scheme wasn't there. The even going back to the Lions game that they barely got the win with, it just seems like they're being outcoached and outplayed in these need to games where the pressure is on, where they need coaching the most. And Mike McCarthy just isn't and wasn't that for them. He can coach the hell out of them in the regular season, 3 12-win seasons in a row. That's hard to do within 3 years. That's difficult to do. There's only 17 games. It's difficult to win 12 of them. You got injuries, you have flukes, you have a whole bunch of different factors that go into it. It's football, as you know. So three straight 12-win seasons is great, but he's just not getting them past that hump that they need. And if Jerry Jones wants a ring before he sells the Cowboys or, something else happens, he needs to do something drastic in a way, like, fire Mike McCarthy. He needs to do something like that. But the question then becomes, is Jerry too old to rebuild in a sense? You know what I'm saying? Does he not want to do this over and over again? He said that he doesn't want to do that over and over again. So even on that aspect, Jerry, it's the Cowboys are in a very weird spot right now where they are just going to keep doing what they're comfortable with right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're in a very weird spot because, like you said, Jerry Jones is getting older. They definitely can't rebuild because, all these seasons they're getting 12 plus wins. So in the draft, I mean, they're at the bottom of they can't pick up a superstar QB and try to rebuild right now. So what do? Do you just hold on the Dak? Because if you don't hold on the Dak, you're going to have to bring in somebody that's ready to win. And there's not really any QBs right now besides, I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, like the only one probably left, but I would not pick him up. It wouldn't be a good thing. But Joe Flacco, I mean, that's like I don't know. I mean, there's not really a QB that's just ready to step in right now and win. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we don't know what's going on with him. Belichick, we don't know what's going on with him. I mean, those are the only two things I could think of that would be better or just around the ballpark that McCarthy and Dak were. So I don't really know what they do.
Now, speaking of Belichick, now that you brought him up, do you think it was a mistake for the Cowboys to not go after and pursue Bill Belichick, or even any
Yeah.
other coach in that matter of Rabel, a Harbaugh, a Pete Carroll? Do you think it was a mistake for them to not even consider it, and just kind of
Yeah.
stick with McCarthy?
Yeah. At the same time, I mean, if they're this strong to stick with McCarthy, maybe there's just something behind the curtains that's going on that we don't know. Yeah, not even considering Belichick or interviewing him or meeting with him at all. Like you were talking about, though, Jerry Jones and Belichick are two completely different people. Would they mesh at all? Probably. I mean, who knows unless they work together. But I mean, not even looking into the greatest coach of all time. Yeah, I think that's a mistake personally.
Now, do you think that Jerry Jones reached out to anybody in Bill Belichick's side of things at all?
Mm, he possibly. I don't know. I
Excuse me.
mean, I'm assuming that Jerry Jones doesn't care about like if he really wanted Belichick, he would pay for him. But if he did pay for Belichick, maybe he wouldn't have options for just a way better team. So, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because, like you said, I mean, the Cowboys are doing the same thing every year, and like you brought up earlier, yeah, I could easily see them just having another 12-win season and then being in the playoffs and then just losing the first or second round. I could see it happening all over again.
I mean, yeah, with McCarthy, exactly. I can see that happening all over again. But if they were to go after Bill Belichick to fix that side of things, as of being ready for that playoff game, being ready for the wild card game, being not underestimating your opponent, not looking ahead to the Super Bowl, because another thing that that Jerry and all the Cowboys are always famous for is talking about the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, we're gonna make it this year. We'll see you in the Super Bowl. We'll do this in the Super Bowl. While we're in week one when they just beat the Giants 40-0. And obviously the Giants are an NFL team, but they're not a good NFL team at all by any means necessary. And they did the same
Not
thing to
even
my Patriots.
close.
So it's not even like I'm trying to trash the Giants, but they did the same thing to my Patriots. You shut down a bad team, you beat up on tomato cans, as Chris Broussard would say. You know what I'm saying? You beat up on a whole bunch of nobodies, and then you expect
Yeah.
to go into the playoffs and be some sort of hot tamale, but you're not. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. It's not it. And it's the coaching. They were the number one most penalized team in the league again this year. It's something that Mike McCarthy and the team has notoriously been since he's been there, as well as penalties and those little things, the clock management as well. Just being a game manager in that aspect of being a head coach is something that he lacks. And it's the reason that they have lost and been kicked out early and not made it anywhere past the second round because of the little intricacies of it. And that's something that Bill Belichick is a master of. And in New England, everybody knows him as the rule twister. You know what I'm saying? He knows the rules. He knows how to twist them in his favor. He knows when to run the clock down. He knows when to call a timeout. He knows when to take a delay game. He knows the little intricacies that are going to win you the game in a close game, in a close battle. He knows how to save his timeouts. He knows how to do all that to a better degree than Mike McCarthy does. And if Jerry
Yeah,
wants to
for
win a Super
sure.
Bowl, if Jerry wants to get another ring before he goes, pursuing Bill Belichick would have been the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely put them right in the championship contender category if Belichick ended up joining. Dallas, we can't promise you one thing. CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, they'll be there. They'll be there messing stuff up all year for you guys. But besides that, I don't know what's going to happen with Dallas again. I mean, it's almost just like you
Well,
said, it's pretty much just a good season in the garbage can.
yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be another $9 billion trash can next year. We're going to be sitting in the same position next year, laughing and making fun of them because they're doing a whole bunch of nothing but talking like they normally
Yeah.
do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and since the Cowboys didn't, they kind of locked in and guaranteed that they're going with McCarthy, that kind of takes the pressure off of the other teams around the league who are looking for a head coach because they know that one vacancy or one potential vacancy isn't there, so they don't have to rush to try to interview a Bill Belichick, a Vrabel, a Harbaugh, or something like that. They can take a little bit more of time. The Eagles, for example, who are in the Cowboys division, they're rivals, as everybody knows. They very well could have been, rushed to go talk to Belichick or rushed to go talk to that. But now that they know they don't have to look for, they don't have to do that because the Cowboys are sticking with McCarthy in that aspect. They can kind of take another day or two to figure out what they want to do with Sirianni in that aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
And to,
100%.
and to be honest, I mean, Belichick's had two meetings with the Falcons as of this point, but I still feel like, and even though everybody hates the Eagles, I still feel like the Eagles would be a really good fit for Belichick because of the fact that his age, the fact that he wants to win, he needs the 15 wins to break Don Shula's record. He wants all of that. and he's not getting any younger, so he needs to do that in the shortest amount of time. And like we were talking about the other day, the Eagles, besides the Cowboys, the Eagles give him the best opportunity for the most immediate success.
Yeah, definitely. I want to also add in, like I'm glad you brought that up because I think if there's one team that Belichick, you could just plug them right in and it would be great. It would be the Eagles. Yes, they had a horrible defense this year. They did switch their defensive coordinator because they didn't like how it was going before, but now we saw what happened when they did that. But Belichick is a guy that wants to sit there. He wants to run the clock down, and he wants to play defense. And the Eagles just have the perfect team for that. They have the perfect QB. I know Jason Kelsey's leaving, but I'm sure they're gonna, they're not gonna be able to plug someone in as good as him. But their O line's still gonna be really good. I just think it's a perfect fit for Belichick. So
And
definitely like him going there.
one thing on the Jason Kelsey situation too is he said in the most recent podcast with his brother, he said that he's not officially sure if he's retiring or not yet. He just doesn't
Oh,
appreciate the
okay.
he doesn't appreciate the leaks though that got out there, but he's not sure 100% sure if he even wants to retire yet. He's going to see what the next season holds. But even if he does
Yeah.
retire, he still has a hell of a career, hell of a career with the Eagles. So I mean, regardless, whatever he wants to do, he's earned that right absolutely 100 million%.
Man is toying with us like Brady did. Is all that stuff about him after the game saying that he was retiring to his teammates? Is that just all fake news?
I don't think it was fake. Excuse me. I don't think it was fake news. I think that it was something that he may have said, but it was leaked, and because he even said he didn't appreciate the leak. So there is a little bit of truth behind it when when you address that you don't like the leaks that we're getting out. There's a little bit of truth behind that. So,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
but the pressure is on Mike McCarthy now. He has to show out. He has to because there's also the final season of his contract as well too. So you have to think maybe Jerry and him was just like, hey, this is your last season. I don't really feel, I don't feel like doing this right now. So let's go ahead and finish out your contract, and then we can go from there and see what happens. Because he didn't sign an extension. They still got to potentially sign Dak to an extension. They have a free agents that they're gonna have to sign. They got to pay Micah. They got to pay D-Law. They got to pay some people. They got to pay CD. They got to pay some people. So we'll see how this off season for them, the direction it heads into. There we go. That's what I was looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
But the pressure is definitely on Mike McCarthy. Would you say?
Yeah. Oh no, I would definitely agree. It's because, like you said, it's a do or die thing for him. I mean, if they don't win, then they're 100%. I mean, he's gone. He's gone if they don't win.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of pressure, I do want to switch over and talk about the two number one seeds right now, the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. Which number one seed, which of those two teams has the most pressure on them to get to the Super Bowl? Or excuse me, win the Super Bowl, not even just get to the Super Bowl, but to win it.
I say the Ravens just because everyone in the NFL thinks that they're the best team. And I wouldn't say think. I would say they probably are the best team. I mean, they literally have the best defense. They got a lot of offensive weapons. Mark Andrews, I don't think he's playing next game, but there's a huge possibility of him coming back also. They got the backup tight end Isaiah Likely, which has been a monster since Andrews has won out. Me personally, I don't think you bring back Andrews unless he's like 100% healthy because it would maybe just, it would mess up some stuff. But I'd definitely say the Ravens because people are just expecting them to win.
Yeah, I honestly, I agree with you. The Ravens definitely need to. I think if you're as far as a player aspect and the team aspect, the Ravens need to get there. I think as far as a coaching aspect, I think the 49ers need to get there a little bit more. I think Mike Shanahan needs to get there a little bit more than Harbaugh needs to get there because he's already won a ring. He already won a ring with Flacco with the Ravens way back a couple years ago. So he's got what he needs. This would be a second one. As far as players go, this definitely means more to Lamar Jackson. This would be his second MVP year, and no chip to show for it. This is arguably the widest the AFC has ever been, with the Chiefs looking the way the Chiefs do, the Bills always being that roller coaster ride of the Bills. Um, the AFC is wide open. The NFC was a little bit more packed tight this year, but the AFC is wide open. So I do agree with you. I think the pressure is on Lamar and the Ravens to not just get to it, but to win it. Because this also will open up their whole Super Bowl kind of chapter of that team because they have the argument to be one of the all-time teams. You know what I'm saying? With their number one
Yeah.
defense, their number one offense, and if they can just do what they've been doing all season and just control their turnovers, control what they can control, they can come out with the victory. They have this easily. I mean, they just played the 49ers a couple weeks ago and mollywopped them. There's nobody that they haven't beat this year going against playoff teams. They're 6-2 in this two games that they lost. They basically beat themselves. So I think
Yeah,
I think team wise the Ravens do, but if you're asking like coach wise, which coach this would impact more, definitely Mike Shanahan and the 49ers. The pressure would be on them more, but the Ravens because they're the talk of the town right now.
yeah, for real. Yes, sir.
They're absolutely the talk of town. But sticking with the number one, I do want to go over and talk about the battle of the number one picks, the overall picks of their draft class. So this is the 2.0 version though, because we just had the 1.0 version with Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Both of those guys were number one picks. Goff came up top. Now we got Baker Mayfield going into Detroit to face off against Jared Goff and those red hot lines. Do you think that Baker can complete his comeback year and pull off the upset against Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, and those Lions?
I think so. I think there's a chance, but I will tell you this: we will not be able to run against them if we're sitting back there doing run play after run play and just sprinkling passes every here and then. No, we're gonna get destroyed. If Mike Evans is dropping stuff like he did in the first quarter, no, we're gonna get destroyed. The Lions don't have a good wide receiver one defense, but they do have a great just overall defense. So I'm assuming Evans is going to be like heavily targeted in that game, and him and Baker, if they're not on that same page, I'm just not seeing too much glory out of that game. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, they are going into a very, very hostile Detroit environment. Detroit, this is their second home playoff game and second playoff game in 30 years. This is their this is big. This is the first time they've had back-to-back home playoff games in franchise history. This is big for them. Michigan just won the championship. So this is just big for the whole state of Michigan, just in general. This is big for. Oh, excuse me. So but I don't think that Baker is going to be able to go in and upset. I think his comeback season is going to end this weekend, and I'm sorry to say that, Jaden. I know you really want. I
The
know you
Baker
really want.
shamer, huh?
Yeah, I
The
know you
Baker
really want.
shaker,
I
huh?
know you really want Baker to keep cooking and keep baking in his kitchen this year, but I think it's going to come to an end. I think that he's going to spark a kitchen fire, and it's just not going to go well. I think Detroit's defense. I think Aiden Hutchinson and that defense is going to be able to get after him. Obviously, we have they
Yeah.
have to look out for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the outside. Otten, Moore, who showed up big last game for you guys, so they got to shut them down. But I think that line is going to be able to get to Baker. They're going to make him nervous, and he's going to crackle under the pressure. As long as Jared Goff and the offensive line over there can keep him clean as well too, I think the Lions are going to take that very easy. Now, if your guys' defense is able to get and pressure Goff, I think it's a whole different game because Jared Goff is a whole different quarterback while he's pressured. Excuse me,
He's
he's
not good.
no he's nowhere near as good when he's pressured. Last game, they barely even touched him. He was pressured, I think, 6 times and he was 1 for 6. And all the other passes where he wasn't, he was 21 for 21 when he wasn't pressured. So that's two very different sides of the game, two very different sides of a quarterback. And two very different outcomes it could potentially be if you just go ahead and get to it. But I do want to go ahead and finish off with our picks for the night because we're transitioning into the picks, the locks tonight. I know me and you have the same one going in, so I tailed you. I'm not gonna lie. So give me your rundown, give me your reasons, give me your locks.
All right, I got you. All right, so we're gonna be going. Our first prop today is going to be Scotty Barnes, 0.5 rebounds. Now, Scotty Barnes, he's going against the Bulls, which just the power forwards in general give up 9.5 boards a game. He's already played him twice this year, and he soared over both times. He got double doubles in both games. There's also no Pascal Siakam. There's no Jacob Pertl. So he's not going to be the center, but he's going to be like crashing the boards tonight. And just with how good the matchup is and how bad the Bulls have been, I mean, they're just not really making shots in general. I see Scotty honestly easily getting 10. I really like it. It's already been bumped to 8. I would still take it at 8. Like you got it. Like I was telling you, 7.5, 100% if you can still get it at that. But that's my first pick. And my second pick is going to be Lauri Markkinen. He's been a straight wagon for me. Let me just tell you. I mean, if you pick this man in a game that is just anywhere close, like if it's a good matchup and it's just a back and forth game, I mean, he literally soars every single time. So I got his points and rebounds at 34.5 against OKC and as you know, and if all you guys don't know, that OKC is one of the worst rebounding teams. So, I mean, just the forwards alone, they're almost averaging 10 a game off of them. So I obviously had to mix it up with the points because his points were only at 24 and a half and his rebounds were at 9. So, I mean, it was giving you the fair 35 for both of them. He's easily going to get a double-double. And the thing about it is OKC is actually good this year, and Utah has been very good recently. And they both don't really have that good of defenses, so it's going to be a very high-scoring back and forth game. And I just see Markkanen honestly hitting it with ease. I see him hitting it with ease,
Yeah,
and I
you,
think it's going to be a good game to just make bets in general. The slate's not too good today, but if any of you guys wanted to, go in a game and just have some fun, I would definitely go in the Utah OKC game for sure.
yeah, and you'd think with a player who's 7'3", 7'4", like Chet Holmgren, you'd be able to get some more rebounds than they do. But again, like I said last episode,
Yeah.
that's why I'm analyzing from my chair at my desk and not on the court playing. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nonetheless, that was all that we had today for you guys, for you ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Make sure to let us know if you're tailing what we playing. Make sure to let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you want to hear next, and we'll keep you posted. We'll see you on the next one. But other than that, this is your boy Big Mocha and Jaden Props, and we'll see you later. Peace.